are live. Hi, everybody. Woo! Finally, I am here today with, very excited. When I say finally, we've been working on getting together for a little bit. Girl Talk Network founder and owner, Sarah Pendrick. I am so excited, you guys. She has the same kind of mission that I do, all about empowering women. And hang on, you guys, I got this little issue with my mouse right now. Okay, here we go. Not a real mouse. But anyway, I'm using my husband's computer and his little mouse keeps sticking. But I am super excited to welcome Sarah Pendrick. She is the founder and creator of the nonprofit movement Girl Talk. Her mission is to empower women of all ages while serving as a resource for young women. Sarah is a self-love advocate, life coach, writer, empowerment speaker, and philanthropist. Mm-hmm. With a bachelor's in psychology and a master's in family therapy, Sarah developed an empowerment program for young women. She travels all over the United States to speak to the women of our next generation and provides them all with support, education, and empowerment. Sarah not only features and connects powerful women with a purpose, but she teaches women to live in their authentic selves and celebrates them through her events and programs by giving them a platform and a space to thrive and use their voice. Welcome, Sarah, to the show.
Hi. I know, finally. We just have to be like in our sweatshirts with coffee to make it happen.
We're both drinking coffee. It's like mid-afternoon here, but it's probably morning there.
I know. I was like, how do you look so cute in the morning? But I guess I forgot that. I always think that you're in California with me. I don't know why.
That's what I had. I actually had Ambrosia Marlborough on. She was one of your speakers at your last Girl Talk Network event, or I think she was on the panel. And she lives in California, and she had the time mixed up because she's like, I thought you lived here.
Yeah. That's funny.
Or maybe it was Arizona. It's on that time zone.
Live here. I feel like that's like a calling for you to move here.
Oh, there you go. I would love to. My son is going to be living in LA. He's finishing film school right now. And so it's going to be where it's happening. He's there actually right now.
It's nice here right now.
Yeah. I saw all kinds of pictures. He and his girlfriend traveled out to LA because he wanted to have his car while he was there. So they traveled and they visited the Grand Canyon and all sorts of stuff before they made it to LA.
So fun. Yeah. That 405 traffic, you need your car here to get around.
Oh my gosh. And I know I used to joke.
Everyone that's listening is probably like, oh my gosh, LA traffic, but it's a real thing.
It is a real thing. I thought, how do you guys ever send your 16-year-olds out into the traffic?
Oh my gosh, I'm not there yet, but I just that just
I would be like, you need a ball bat, you need a helmet,
Yeah.
And a whistle. I don't know.
Yeah, you need everything.
Well, you need everything and then some. And so is that where you grew up?
No, I've been all over the place. I was born in St. Louis, and then I lived in Nashville and Arizona. So Nashville and Arizona, where I met you, those are like my two second homes.
Wow. I love that.
Yeah.
And so you ended up in LA, and how did you get started? How did you start, and what made you think of starting Girl Talk?
Yeah. So it's crazy because I made my first business plan. I think I was 16 or 17. And I just like wrote it out, came up with all these ideas. It was all around girls and women and like finding the go-to places, all these just things when you're 16. Like, I don't even know how I knew how to make a business plan. I just did it. And I found it recently, and it's so much of what I'm doing at Girl Talk. So I think it's my soul's always known that I wanted to do that. I've always been really passionate about women helping each other. I've dealt with what I say girl on girl crime, like bullying and, mean girl stuff. So but I've always known that I wanted to help people. So I went into psychology. I knew I wanted to live in LA. This is kind of a funny story. I always knew I wanted to live in LA. I went to college and a lot of my friends were from here, but I was super nervous to leave my family. Now, I mean, I love my family. Now I like laugh about it because it's just, once you do the thing that you're scared of, it just seems so easy. And I'm like, you know what? I was supposed to start a women's group in Nashville, and I'm like, I'm just gonna go visit LA, and I never came back. My poor
Oh, I
family.
love that.
Yeah, I'm like, I
That's
just know I'm
awesome.
supposed to be here, and if I don't like it and I only stay for a year, then I always can go back. So I'm not going back. I will be here forever. I love it. I live in Manhattan, Hermosa Beach, so I live in like a little beach town. So it's like community, which I love, and then I can go out into the city and get the craziness and then come back to my community.
I love Hermosa Beach. Love
Yeah,
it.
it's very like, it feels like you're on vacation all the time. But so I just always knew that I wanted to do something to help people. And I've always really cared about giving back. I would volunteer. Um, I would always be helping my girlfriends. I would hold, like, when I was little, I would have these like fake therapy sessions. So it's just like
Oh
something
my
that I've
gosh, that's
always
so
known.
cute.
Yeah, I've just always known what I wanted to do. I guess I just didn't really know what that looked like. So I tried a few different things. And that's why I always tell people it doesn't matter if you spend at when I go to the schools and the girls are like, but I'm graduating, I need to have a plan, I need to do this. I'm like, you really don't, because no matter what path you go on, you're always going to get led where you're supposed to be. It's like I went and got my master's for psychology. Then I went and did PR after and didn't even go on to get my PhD. And now I've married all my passions together to create Girl Talk. So it's like everything that I did, even though I was like, this is weird. Why am I doing this? Oh, I don't want to do this anymore. It was leading me to what my actual purpose was.
I don't know why I just thought of this, but girl talk. It's therapy. It's talk therapy for women. Like,
Yeah.
it's just
Right.
right. And we get together and it's like talk therapy, like because you get to bond with each other in a unique and powerful way.
Yeah, because you think you could be having the worst day or just be in like a crappy headspace, but if you have a good conversation with another woman, it's like healing. That's all we need. So it's kind of like we all need girl talk. And then another thing for me is changing the meaning of girl talk, like for a positive thing, the way that we're doing now, the way that everyone's out there watching us. Like you might be like, oh, I've wanted to do that. Or wow, that speaks to me. It's just, I feel like girl talk and connection between women just heals everything.
Yeah, it is definitely so healing, and just coming together as women and
Yeah.
celebrating each other is it's a powerful force.
Mm-hmm. So true.
Yeah. Now, I know that hasn't always been true in your life. Uh, can you talk a little bit about the way that you were bullied by other women and your girl on girl crime?
Yeah. It goes back to even like in third grade. I remember like getting ganged up on, and then more like scarring wise was in middle school. I was the first one to develop. So everyone would like make it sounds funny, silly when you say it now, but at that time when you're in sixth and seventh grade and your body's changing, that's such like a sacred time for us women. And I was like being said that I stuffed my bra. I would be called fat because I had hips, and people like the women, the girls didn't have hips yet. So it's like I already was like being told that there was something wrong with me. And I would like wear sweatshirts around my waist. I mean, it took a long time, probably up until after college, for me to embrace that I have curves and embrace what I look like and be proud of that and not feel like there was something wrong with me. Um, I had women in high school come to my house and like egg my house and write things all over my driveway. And the worst part about it was, and no one deserves that, was
Yeah,
I
there's
didn't do
no
anything.
excuse for that.
Right. I didn't do
Yeah,
anything. It was like,
that's
I think
abuse. Yeah.
they just spotted me out in a party and were obviously intimidated or something. I didn't even know. Like I woke up and came out and was like, what? Like I had no idea. And to me, someone that my whole like being is to connect with people, especially women. And I've been like that my whole life. So those little crimes and just dealing with women jealousy and gossip was really, really hard on me.
Yeah, and I can relate. I birthed it. I want to say I birthed it because I lived it. A chapter in the Sisterhood of Sweat is called Girl on Girl Crime. And basically, to me, when women attack each other, it's a disservice to us as women. And it's like a killing of your soul to have, others surrounding, well, at one point they surrounded a casket. They were all talking about me, and I heard about it later. And I'm like, wow, that's really what you should be discussing me around somebody's deathbed. You know what I mean? Like, wow. Yeah. And so it was hurtful, but I think I learned so much from the experience, and just what I don't want to do. I don't want to be, surrounding myself with people that gossip. I try to separate myself from gossip. And I just think that it's just, like I said, a disservice to each other. Right. And it's harmful. I know, sometimes it can feel juicy, and you think that it's great, but it always leaves you feeling bad. At least I know I do. I'm not saying I've never not participated. You always end up feeling bad about it.
Right. Yeah. And I just, that's like another thing. Like if we all were just more open with each other, then we wouldn't have to sit and have go to those dinners where it's just about gossip. We could actually talk about things that we really want to talk about.
Yeah. Like big ideas.
Yeah. It's like, I used to go to those dinners right before I started Girl Talk, and I would go to the same dinner with the same girls every week, and it would be the same conversation. And I would leave like, why did I just do that? Why do I keep putting myself through that? I don't feel good after. It's not helping with any of my goals. I don't feel closer to them. I feel like a jerk because I just listened to all this BS the whole time.
Well, if they're chewing you, they're, if they're chewing somebody else, they're going to chew you next, right?
Yeah, right. So it's just, and it all comes down to all of us. I have days where I'm like, might be doubting myself, or I'm not, stepped into my power, but it just all comes down to that they don't feel enough and they're scared. So it's like crazy because we all crave the same thing, but in our fear, we just step into the gossip, trying to bring someone else down, not realizing that the power of actually lifting each other up, being there for each other, is going to help you in the long run too. Like you said, it's not only being a disservice to them, but it's a disservice to yourself.
Yeah.
You are killing your own soul when you do stuff like that.
Well, yeah. And
why you're waking up feeling so bad about yourself all the time, but that's the behavior that you're doing.
Well, that's one of the things I learned too, is that when you're very critical of yourself, you're very critical of others. So I feel like another way to kind of bring us together as women and gossip less and empower more is if you're totally focusing on self-love first. Yeah. If you're loving on yourself and you're not speaking to yourself in a critical manner, you're going to be a lot less critical of everyone around.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah. And one more thing about and then we'll move on to another topic, but just my grandfather used to say, when they talk about Sue, they're going to talk about you.
That's good. That's good. True. So
just
true.
A little one.
Yeah.
Right.
And yeah. So true. So simple and so right on.
And then the other thing is like, you want to live in your greatness. So you start stepping out into it, into your dreams, and you're making waves. And I think sometimes that's another thing that makes people feel uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. It scares them because you're changing. And so that may be part of what you're seeing is just a little bit of fear on their part when they attack you.
Yeah. I always say, like, I'm in a weird funk the last month because I've been brought, I have the women that I want to surround myself with. Like, that's what I have down. Like, I know who I want to go to dinner with. I know who I want to have coffee with. I know who I want to have these conversations with, and a few people that I wouldn't want to surround myself with have come creeping in the last couple months. And it's been hard because it's brought me back to my past wounds. But then I remember it's also brought me back to why I started Girl Talk, because I can't be out here helping everyone if I'm like, oh yeah, like all my girls are good, I have the best group. Like I need to remember why I started this, because there's a lot of people out there that don't have that. So
Yeah, it's just kind of about having them relearn and teaching
yeah,
them. Yeah.
as much as
Yeah.
the last month has been kind of funky for me, it's like you have to live in that for all of us that have bad weeks or bad days, and just remember like there's a lesson in that. And I don't know. I mean, the world, everything's just like so powerful, and there's a reason for everything. So it's like, even when I'm sitting here with this conversation, I'm like, I'm so happy to be sitting here with you guys. Like, it's just, yeah, I'm really grateful.
Now, when we are, in our empowered, our empowered selves, and we might be thinking we have to have a certain image that we have to put out there. We think that we can't be vulnerable. Why is that false? Why do we connect better with other people when we show our vulnerability?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. It's crazy that we put that pressure on ourselves, that we have to feel like we have to put up some sort of image, but that image that we're putting up is the exact thing that's blocking us from having the connections that we want. And it's just, being vulnerable is the best thing that you can do in your brand, in your conversation daily, in being a public figure, whatever you are, because people are going to connect with you so much stronger, and you're going to help them when you're vulnerable. Like when I walk away from a conversation and someone's straight up like, yeah, I felt like that. I just felt like that yesterday, or I felt like that last month. Like, it heals me. And you're kind of coaching yourself too, if that makes sense. Just when you're just so honest, you're going to get so much further, and the things that you want are going to be brought to you when you're just being honest and vulnerable. Because, some people, whatever your belief is, some people are like, I don't manifest, I don't do all these things, but everyone can agree with there's some sort of energy out there. And if you're not being true to your thoughts and what you're saying to other people, you're just going to be served the wrong thing. So be vulnerable, get it over quick, be vulnerable, be honest. And then that energy, the universe is going to bring exactly what you've been wanting. There's no point in standing and trying to play some sort of like person that you're really not.
Do you find that it's really key for you with Girl Talk when you're bringing on speakers and sponsors that you're in alignment with them?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
How do you know? How do you know that you're in alignment?
I mean, I'm not going to, like in the beginning when I first started my first event, I only reached out to people that I felt were in alignment. I only reached out to brands that I felt were in alignment. I mean, those things that you can know. There's never, someone might have not been 100% honest with you, and you can't predict something like that. But when you see a woman that walks the walk, you see what she stands for, you see a brand, what they're doing, are they giving back, or are they women focused, then that's perfect for what I'm doing. So I kind of vet them before I even get into a relationship with them.
Now, when you got your vision, how did it evolve to what it is now?
So my story is like, it's pretty crazy. And I even look back and I'm like, wow, like once you just step into your power and you know what you want to do, like there's no holding you back. You can't even explain it. One thing is, I think it's amazing to talk to so many different people, to listen to different podcasts, to hear people's stories. But just because someone did it this way doesn't mean you have to do it this way. Like that might not work for you. So for me, I just knew that I wanted to create this event, and I focused, reverse engineer, how did I want the women to feel when they left? So I went off that. I wanted them to leave and have new connections, feel empowered. If they were coming in there to try to resolve something in their life or in their business relationship, I wanted them to have, maybe they didn't have the answers, I couldn't control that, but I know how I wanted them to feel when they left. And I planned my event based on that. And with doing my first event, 100% in all honesty, April 23rd, 2015, 2016. I just was like, this is the date, and I couldn't go back. I told people about it, and then I started planning from there. Found the venue that April 23rd worked for. It's like, you need to give yourself those like firm dates or firm whatever, so you can't just be scared and back away. It's like, oh, this is happening. It's April 23rd. I got to make it.
It's a commitment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was so special, you guys. You'll have to check her event out. She's having another one soon, and Lori Harder and her are combining their talents together. And Lori Harder of Earn Your Happy, and now the Bliss, a tribe called Bliss.
Yeah.
Yay, I have her book. I love it. So basically the event was so gorgeous. It was better than a wedding. I mean, I was so impressed, and all the booze and all the fun and just the bonding with women and the panel that you had. What gave you the idea to have the panel? That was probably my favorite part.
So many people say that. I could have like a amazing keynote speaker and everyone goes back to the panel, just because, first, it's funny that you said that, because I literally said I want to make an event that's like a wedding for women. So I love
Oh, I love that. It's a wedding for women. I love it.
The reason that I do the panel is because not everyone might relate to what I say, or maybe not everyone. They get little bits of what the keynote speaker says, or like what my talk, but a whole group of women from different backgrounds coming together, sitting on the stage, can offer different advice. People always have their different favorites. It's not all the same. It's so funny. I was like, who did you love? Who did you relate to on the panel? And everyone has someone different. But then the thing that I love about the panel is it shows how different we are, but how similar we are at the same time, and how we all want.
Yeah, right. So I think a lot of times people sit thinking, well, she's like this, or she's this, and I'm nothing like that. So It's nice to realize that though we are different, especially when you are vulnerable, you realize how many similarities you have.
Yeah.
Did you have any limiting beliefs surrounding it, and how did you get rid of the limiting beliefs
surrounding the event?
Yes.
No. Okay. So I didn't. Good. But
you were just 100%. Once you made your mind up, that's it. 100%. That's the only way to be, right?
Yeah. The only time I've had like some limiting beliefs was after the success, because then people have their certain opinions and the way they think you should do it, and you just can't let that noise get in. Because then I was like, oh, should I change it? Should I do this? And I'm like, no. Like, I was so right on. Like, I just blew in and freaking planned it. Like, that's when you know what you're doing is what you're supposed to be doing.
And then people are giving their 2 cents, and you're like, oh my gosh. Yeah. And so how did you quiet the noise? Because it does get quite noisy once you step out and start doing things.
Yeah. The only way that I did it, and it can be different for everyone, is just like having that self-awareness and the space for myself. Because it's like, oh, that sounds cool. And yeah, I saw her, she did that at her event, but like, that's not what my event is. And
you want it to be different too, right? It needs to have your imprint and your signature.
And it's like, everyone's going to have their opinion no matter what. You could do things absolutely perfect. Someone's going to have an opinion. You don't really know where that opinion's coming from, whether it's the day that they're having when they say it, whatever's going on in their life. What we were talking about before with, women just not being able, like, if they don't celebrate each other, maybe they wanted to do an event, but they didn't even realize. So they want to put some hate on my event. Like, you just never know where that 2 cents is coming from, or the people that love you. I mean, at my first event, some of my family was there and they want the best for me, but they had their 2 cents after, and that's okay. It's like some of the 2 cents you might be like, oh, that's a good idea. But the ones that doesn't resonate with you, just remember what your original vision was and why you're doing it. And that's really all you need to do.
What is your greatest vision with Girl Talk? What do you want to accomplish in your heart of hearts?
My greatest vision, I just have this like mission statement that I want Girl Talk to be the place that any woman, no matter what stage of life that they're in, goes to feel safe, empowered, and to get the resources that they need to thrive in their life. That's why I work with women of all ages, because I know there's just a part of me, I don't know what it looks like. I don't know exactly what it's going to be, but I just want it to be this like go-to place. When you're just talking with someone, you're like, where's that place that I can just feel like this and do this, whatever it's going to look like in the future. I just want it to be girl talk.
Yeah, I mean, I can totally see that. I know you're in the schools and you travel and do all these events with the young girls. I would love for you to tell me about, tell everyone out there about that and just kind of maybe a success story from one of your events.
Yeah. The reason I do the school tour is because, coming from the bullying in middle school, high school, then kind of stepping out into my own in college, I needed that support. Because I always had an entrepreneur brain too, but maybe people around me weren't like that. So I'm basically going into the schools, giving them what I wish I would have had. That's why I started with college, because everyone forgets college. It's like, that's a really
That's a rough time
right. Yeah.
sometimes because it's a big transition from high
Yeah.
school to college. Yeah.
And that's really where I found my first empowerment, and I didn't know exactly what to do with it. So to help them get there faster and realize like, oh, this is all normal, that lights me up. Like I love doing that.
And what is one of your greatest success stories from one of your events? Somebody that came and it changed their life.
There's a few. The college program is just so amazing because they walk in like I don't even know what's going to happen. I love girl talk. I love what you talk about. Like, yay, but they have no idea what's going to happen. And it's the most connecting experience. I have a program for the day, but I don't have a set talk when I go there. I
Yeah.
really let them open up and share with each
Yeah.
other. Even to this day, I just got an email the other day about, when did I see her? It might have been 2 years ago that I visited her school, and she just reached out to me 2 years later and was like, you literally changed my life. You have no idea how much like you coming meant to me. I've been doing this ever since. I've started my own jewelry line. I'm like, oh, really amazing. When are you graduating? She's like, oh no, I'm a sophomore. I'm like, oh, like it just depends. Each stop is different. There's stops where I think it's crazy. These 18-year-olds have these ideas, and after we visit, they're putting them to life. They still want to finish school, but they're like, I already know what I want to do. And now you let me know that it's okay. Just because I'm 18 doesn't mean I can't do it. And then there's a lot of healing between them together. Like if they had problems with each other or within the group, a lot of healing goes on. And my favorite stop was in Colorado, and I shared my experience with sexual assault, and half the room had an experience with sexual assault. Like I'm getting chills talking about it because I wasn't expecting that. And I wasn't even expecting to share that because the advisor told me all these other problems that they were having, which really wasn't exactly what was going on in the group. And just that whole room sharing with each other, their best friend sitting next to them and not really realizing it's happened to both of them. I mean, I don't even know. I get like little updates here and there, but just the power of seeing that in that room, I don't even have to know what's going on now. I just know like how much their life changed from that experience.
Well, I know I can relate on this end coming from basically sexual assault, I would call it, when you're 8 years old, and just that, and then abuse, and just a whole gamut of things that have happened to me in my life. And I think the biggest thing is when you come out about it and you say what happened, then shame can't live anymore.
Right.
And so I think what you're doing is so good, because I didn't heal from this. I did not heal from this until I was 55 years old, because I carried that shame with me since I was a kid and didn't talk about it. I protected the adults and just, so I think the empowerment is in releasing the shame by talking about it.
Right. It all goes back to why the power of being vulnerable can change your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
And others,
Right.
because
Right.
as soon as I spoke out about it, I had, people coming to me and coming to my studio and reaching out to me on the internet and just, relating to the story, or their child relating to the story, and where can we go for help. So I think it's a huge conversation.
Yeah.
So happy that there's the Me Too movement now, because women have been silent for
Yeah.
too long about this stuff.
And look what happened when you shared. I mean, you healed, and then look at the impact that you made.
Yeah.
So it's like our job to help the women. I think it's our responsibility as women to live like that, because we can help women older than us, our age, and younger than us. So someone like, I didn't share that happening to me until I was 20. You said it was 55 for you, but we need to have the 8-year-old know to share it then and get help then.
Yeah, it was a close family member, so that
Yeah.
is a whole can of worms, and
Yeah.
also the generation,
Right.
I think. So with you, if you don't mind sharing, what was your experience and how did you move through it?
I had an experience when I was younger, and then it happened again in college. And the way that I moved through it was pretending that it didn't happen. I literally was like, even though I was that psychology major, I was like positive talk, and I didn't know that I felt shame around it, but obviously deep down that there was. But I was more just like, I'm okay. I'm going to do this. I just pushed it out to where I didn't even feel it. And then when I started really talking about it, um, all that like pain and feelings just like unleashed. And then I have healing around the fact that I know that that happened to make me the person that I am, to make me empathetic towards others. It's kind of like turning your worst day into your best day, because I wouldn't be the person that I am right now if that hadn't happened.
Right,
Yeah.
right. You became stronger through, basically what happened to you, and you made that choice, because it is a choice.
Yeah.
I think,
Exactly.
you others.
Right, exactly. And
And
that experience was also part of me birthing Girl Talk Network. And it's been an experience of, why I do all the things that I do. And even with bullying with girls, I mean, it sucks. It takes such a big toll on me. Even there's bullying when we're adults. But I just know that I'm never going to be the bully. And now I'm creating a safe place and an environment and events and a community to where all of us women can help each other get over those things, stand up to that stuff. And so I'm just like, wow, I have a way bigger purpose. So I don't wish that anything that's happened to me didn't happen.
when you're teaching girls to stand up to bullies, what are some of the tips that you give them?
So in my program, I don't teach them to stand up.
Okay.
I more teach them like to heal and go with them first. Even though, like, for example, I'm an entrepreneur and I could tell you a million ways that you can freaking take your business to this level, but it all starts inside here first. That's why
Yeah.
like the soul work and community and helping each other is the most important to me, because then all those things happen. But the way that I teach them and talk to them in the program is why the bully is doing what they're doing and how they can protect, and just know that it's not about them. That's really what I focus on.
So what do you think what is the bully's why? We're talking about our why.
Talking about why.
What is the bully's why?
It all comes down to the same thing of not feeling enough, not feeling loved. When you're really young, you don't know what's going on in their home or the way they're getting bullied outside of school. In our like generation now, when you see it when we're older and we're in the work environment, it always comes down to that woman not feeling enough. But then also you might be doing something that they wish that they couldn't do, so they want to bring you down.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So what are ways we can start making changes and doing things that help us to realize that we are enough.
Yeah. I mean, we are enough.
We
It's
are.
like, we really are. We're more than enough.
Yeah.
Seeing that, it's the self-awareness. Just really like stepping back and being like, how am I treating my friends? How am I living my life every day? Just like stepping back and not being so much in your head about what other people are doing to you, and think about, what am I doing? Because if you're putting
That's empowerment.
yeah,
That's total. You're taking responsibility for what you can control.
right. And it's like, if you're like, oh, actually, I've been kind of hating on that girl. Like, she did this, and why am I doing that? Because, oh, that must be something I want to do. Oh, this person's doing this to me. But then you step back and you're like, oh, but this is the way I've been acting. This is the talk I've been having at dinners. It's like taking that responsibility, not looking at what is everyone else doing, and start looking at what you're doing.
I
Because
love that.
you're the woman that's supporting, being like, yeah, like you wrote a book, like that's awesome. One of these days I'm gonna write a book. Like if you're that woman, you're not gonna be really like sitting and feeling like victimized in a way, because you're just gonna get all that love back. So it might be hard because you
Yeah.
don't feel enough. You feel, it's really important to remember that there's not just one of anything. Like we all should be looking at it as, that's so awesome that she did that, because now I know I can too. I can go ask her, how'd you do that? And then it's her responsibility to tell you the truth, not paint this whole picture. Like, say, this is what I did, and just share. And another thing that's popping into my head as we're talking is for us to get really clear, talking about self awareness, of what we really want. Because I also think sometimes, coming from a place of not feeling enough, we're watching what this person's doing, and then we go try to go down their road because we're trying to like fill some void and we want to have this, but then you're missing what you really should be doing. So it just all comes to really
That's
getting,
so true. And that's psychology. I talked to Dr. Isaiah Hinkle of the Black Hole Focus, and he was all about, like a lot of times it's who you're surrounding yourself with. They're doing something and it isn't even, you're right. You just start to copy that almost
yeah,
automatically and have the same idea.
yeah.
Yeah.
Getting
So
chills because it's so true. Like we just need to, oh, just like discover ourselves. Stop worrying so much about other people.
stay in your own zone.
Yeah.
100%. And I know being authentic and real is what reaches more people.
Right.
And you are reaching a ton of people with your platform at Girl Talk Network. You're traveling to schools, you're having events, and now you're starting something new. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I'm all about just helping each other. Like if I know a secret, if I know a way to do something, I want to share it. So my goal is to reach as many women as I possibly can. So I've created something to where you can literally have an exact place that you press a button and you're going in and you're meeting women like that. You have access to me, you have access to my mentors, to where we can all come together and literally live the way that we've been having this conversation right now. And it's going to be launching soon. I don't know if you have show notes, or I can
Yes.
do a little code for them.
Yes.
If anyone's in Arizona, obviously come to the event that I'm doing with my friend Lori Harder on June 28th. It'll also be a book signing for her new book, but a lot of exciting things. And I just want to bring my empowerment, your empowerment together and create a space and a place that we can all go, no matter where you live, no matter where you are. You're going to have access to everything that you need.
That is so beautiful. And I know I want to be a part, and I'm definitely going to encourage everybody out there in this community, the Sisterhood of Sweat, to support and be a part too, so we can connect all over the globe.
Yes.
And your event again is where?
It's at El Charo, the same place that,
Okay.
yeah, June
Okay.
28th. It's just
Awesome.
basically a collaboration between Lori and I. She'll be sharing some things from her book. I'll be doing a talk, and then just a night of connection with each other.
That's awesome. And where can people sign up?
Oh man. Okay, there's a Facebook group, and then you can go to Lori Harder. .com/ wherever her book link to her tour is, that's where you can get tickets.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I will get that from you so I can post
Yeah.
it so people can engage if they want to.
Yeah.
And where can people reach you on social media?
So I'm on Instagram most of the time. You can find me, send me a DM. I'm always sharing my thoughts it's at Girl Talk Network. And then my website is girltalknetwork.org.
And just 3 simple truths that you can leave with the audience today. They can be funny or wise.
Oh, I'm so bad at doing just like a few things.
Well, you can do more.
I'm gonna leave. I just was with Tim's story this last weekend, and what he was saying really resonated with me is that you have to get left. You have to go left before you get right. So anyone that feels in a funk or they're down that left lane, in a second, you're gonna get right. And you have to go through those times. So if you are just like your head spinning, you don't know why things are happening, just keep remembering you have to go left before you get right.
Love that. Love that.
2
I
more.
just had him on. Yes, I want more.
Just I would say if you guys have time or whenever, just sit down and make a list of the things that make you happy. Just sit down, and it could be as simple as like, I love making matcha and I love going for a walk. Just sit down and think about the things that truly make you happy. And so much comes from doing that exercise. I've literally like created so many of my things from doing that.
I love that. I do.
Third, go out and thank someone. You might know them. You might have to send them a DM. Just go thank another woman for something that they've brought into your life that maybe they don't know that they did.
That's totally great. Let's all do that. And then when you review this in iTunes, I want you to tell me what was the one thing you thanked somebody for. Oh, yeah. And I'll give away a free Sweat Project journal and the Sisterhood of Sweat to one of you guys. Yeah. So make sure you fill that out. We'll leave it in the show notes. And I just want to acknowledge Sarah so much. I just love being around you. Just being around you made me happy today. And yeah, because you're so in touch with your heart and you're living your purpose and you're so authentic. Like I feel the authenticity flowing through you when you're talking your truth. And it's so empowering to see you living your purpose. It makes me feel like I can live my greater purpose. And I know
who's talking.
Yeah, I know other people out there will be feeling the same way, because when you step out into your greatness, it makes me believe that I can too. Right. So I just want to thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yes. This was so fun. Thank you so much. And
absolutely.
Thank you guys.
Absolutely. Thanks everybody for listening to the Sisterhood of Sweat. And make sure you check out this episode and review it in iTunes. And also the Tim Story episode. It was a few episodes back. So he's pretty awesome. All right, you guys. Peace out.